Eric Sundergaard with Armstrong here, the Architectural Specialties Installation Manager, and we're going to talk about WOODWORKS Tegular panels. So I have two samples of panels right here. Basically, this is a 2x2 Tegular panel. They come with an 1/8 inch spline all the way around the perimeter that stays in and is not to be removed. That's what rests on the flange of the grid when you install this. Also, please note the sticker. The sticker will indicate the back of the panel. Please don't attempt to peel off the sticker and use it for the face, because this is what was meant to be for the face of the panel. Just keep note that the sticker indicates the back side of the panel. All right, so one other Tegular wood product I want to talk about is our channeled Tegular. This also will fit in 9/16 heavy duty grid. But if you notice, the splines are a little different on this. So the same spline is on the two opposite sides of the panel, but then we also have this black aluminum spline. And that is just due to the design of the panel with the saw curves. We have to keep more rigidity on the side of this panel, and a spline is not strong enough for that. This has to stay in the panel for the install. Okay, so now this is a 2x2 ceiling panel, but if you're using 2x4 or 2x6 ceiling panels in excess of 20 pounds, it will be required to put a back brace on there for a safety cable attachment. So this is an 18 long piece of Armstrong drywall grid, and you're gonna place it over the back side of the panel. You need to screw it in with these screws. And this is a wood serrated thread screw. This is how the panel was tested. Those serrated edges actually dig into the panel and have a lot better grip than a normal thread. So since that's what this product was tested with, these are the screws that you need to use when you're screwing into wood products with Armstrong. So when you're putting the screw placement on here, it's always good to alternate your screws to both sides of the web and the bulb of the grid through the flange. Gives that drywall grid good stability when it's actually being attached with the safety cable. Now the safety cable attachment, this is actually going to loop up over the wire and main connection. So when you put it over there, you're going to put the wire and main connection right here where my hand is. And then this is going to be your safety cable attachment. Taking the carabiner and just connecting it through the drywall grid. So this is basically for when the panel is being removed from the ceiling and someone's not understanding how heavy it actually is until they actually have it in their hands. Just so the panel doesn't fall and get damaged, that's what this safety cable is for. Humidity is always an issue with wood products. So please always remember to keep it controlled, 25 to 55%. This is a humidity tester that reads it every 20, 30 minutes, however you program it. But the big important part of this is, what is it reading on the nights and weekends? This has to stay climatized in the proper environment for installation for the life of the product. If you think you have any issues with this at all that is not going to work out, please see our Metalworks effects options as another solution. So there's a couple different options on cutting the borders for this panel. Now it will depend on the way you set up your suspension system, but if you rest your grid on the flange of the wall angle, and then you're going to have to cut your wood panels to the wall angle flange. So in order to do that, you're going to have to use a Tegular border clip, okay? These are actually supplied with the panels, and they come with screws as well. There's two clips needed for a 2-foot panel, and that would just screw to the back side of the panel. So then when you go ahead and engage it onto your wall angle, it gives you that 1/4 inch reveal. So another molding option that we have is to use a shadow molding. And since 3/8 by 3/8 reveal is the most common shadow molding, but doesn't really help you to rest that grid on that upper leg because the Tegular tile is only 1/4. So we have item 7889, Armstrong shadow molding. which now you can rest your grid on that upper leg and the panel will flush out on the bottom leg. All your exposed cuts will be hidden. So this is what we've actually have installed in this ceiling mock-up here. Another thing I would like to mention is if you are using panels 1 foot by 6 foot or 2 foot by 6 foot, that will require a stabilizer clip that actually will be shipped with the panel as well. And that gets screwed to the back side of the panel at the midpoint, alternating side from each side of the panel so it clears the hook that's right next to it from the next panel over. So now it's time to talk about our suspension system for our WOODWORKS Tegular panels. Using a superfine black capped heavy duty grid and basically mains 4 feet apart, T's, 4-foot T's and 2-foot T's in there. The grid is attached at the perimeter with Burke 2 clips. Also, the molding that it's attached to is that 7889 wall shadow molding that we discussed earlier. And that is, once again, so the grid can rest on the upper leg of the shadow and the tile or the panel will rest on the bottom flange. And it all works out, so installation is a lot quicker when you're using this angle. All right, so now talking about the trim options. The trim that I have installed in this one is only a 2-inch vector, so it is pretty low. In fact, it's too low to the point where we have to cut some of the bulb of the grid because it sticks up above it. So keep that in mind when you're picking out your perimeter trims to make sure it will cover your suspension system. This is a 6-inch inverted vector trim that we recommend a lot on our wood ceiling systems because of the 5/8 of an inch flange of resting material on compared to a 3/8 flange on our classic Axiom. The clips that come with it are AXTBC clips. And these clips are designed with a score mark. So if you want to do a flat lay-in tile, you would install this clip into the Axiom just as it is. If you want to use a Tegular tile, you're going to take your snips and you're going to cut it at that score mark, which would give you something like this. And now when you attach this to the Axiom, it will automatically hold your grid up 1/4 of an inch. So now you do not have to Tegularize your panels at the Axiom. The face of your panel will rest on the flange of the Axiom and cover your exposed cut completely. And of course, Axiom is always an awesome solution for when you have curved applications. So now we're going to start cutting these panels. I actually need an 8-inch cut. So since I'm using the table saw, I already set it up to 8 inches. I'm going to cut with the product face up on it. If you're going to cut with maybe like the Hilti circular saw for wood, I would mark it on the back side and I would cut it from the back side of the product. That's just my opinion. I think it works better and gives a cleaner cut, but you can try it out for yourself and see which way works better for you. Make sure before you measure for your borders, you take an account of the thickness of this Tegular trim here that's going to be keeping you away from the fence. So just keep that in mind before you make your cuts. So a lot of times when you're installing these, you want to do these little corner panels first, because a lot of times you may have to move a grid member in order to get that panel in there. Not sure if I have to do it on this or not, but obviously not. But okay, see how, okay, the pan's a little sloppy in there. What do I need to do to make sure that it's not going to fall out? So these are border springs. These are what's used when you're installing your wood panels and there's a little bit of slop, but you want to keep it tight into the grid, or even acoustical panels. You can put these toward the back leg of the wall angle, just like this. So that when you install the panel, the pressure will keep the panel sprung back to the full side or to the actual grid components, so the reveals all look in line the way they should. Starting to install these corners first. This one's running into an issue, and of course I didn't do the grid, someone else did the grid before me, so they got screws pointing in this way and screws pointing in this way. You're going to have to move something. So I already took the screw out of the Burke 2 so I can move this cross T out a little bit to make this installation a little bit easier for this panel. It's not worth fighting it. If you got to back out a screw to move the clip, get it back in there, put the screw back in the clip, and you're up and running. So once again, while I'm using this shadow molding, I don't need the border clip. Even if you can use a regular L angle down at the finish elevation and just raise your grid up that 1/4 of an inch, that's fine as well. Just makes the panel installation a lot easier. All right, so if you do have some slop, I mean, this isn't too bad, but if you do have some slop in there, you can use these border springs. Now, if you look at it, I mean, that's going to be putting a lot of tension on that panel. So just take the spring and manipulate it a little bit. You know, flatten it out a little bit more so you don't have as much tension on that. And then go ahead and stick it in there, and that'll always help keep that panel tight to the grid, so it always gives that nice reveal that it's supposed to. Just make sure you keep the grain in the right direction as you're installing your full-size panels. Now, it's always good that when you have perforation, you do have fleece on the back side of these panels. That will help with your acoustics and also from dirt coming down from the deck down and raining down into your actual room. Okay, so how to treat your edges if they will be exposed. We do have a peel and stick veneer tape that you can use. This is, of course, not the right color, but it is very sticky. It's very sticky to use. You still have to trim it down widthwise a little bit, but the biggest thing is priming the cut before you apply this. So you need to fill this in with wood glue along this whole cut edge, let it dry. Once it's dry, then you can put the peel and stick on there. I'd even get a laminate roller to roll it out to make sure it stays nice and flat on there and gets good adhesion to it. And then you can trim it to size, and then you can install your panel. Also, we also have touch-up kits with all of our wood products. Comes with a touch-up stain marker and a wax stick. So please keep that in mind next time you're ordering a WOODWORKS product. It's always good to have something like that on job sites so you don't have to send a guy out trying to find something at one of the hardware stores. So we have infill options for this as well. You can, of course, always use the bagged fiberglass since you won't be seeing it through none of the perforations, since you will have a fleece on the backside. Or you can use, for a higher NRC, you can always use a bioacoustical infill pad as well. Thank you for watching this video. To learn more about WOODWORKS products from Armstrong, please visit armstrongceilings.com/woodworks.